So, lads, we are getting closer and closer to the new NBA season starting. And honestly, with that happening, there's going to be a whole lot of new trade news, especially coming up towards the draft. And according to a lot of agents, a lot of GMs around the league, this year's draft is the most up in the air draft since 2013. It's one where anything could happen. We could see a situation where someone like a James Wiseman falls out of the top 5 or 6 in the draft. We could see a situation where LaMelo starts falling. I highly doubt he falls to the Knicks, but we could see him falling. We could see Deni Avdija potentially go 2 or 8. It's such a weird thing in this draft that there is no sure things. It's a lot like 2013, a draft where there's no absolutely hyped players apart from LaMelo. And LaMelo's so highly flawed that it's not a risk taking him with a high pick. There's no Zions in this year's draft. There's nothing like that. So that's interesting. But for me, in this video, we're going to be talking about the Philadelphia 76ers, a team that are in win now mode. If they don't win this year, who knows what's going to happen? Because if this year doesn't work, they got Doc Rivers. They're going to have to basically pay 4 guys max contracts. If this year does not work, they're probably going to have to blow it up, or at least trade one of these 2 guys. And I think they probably should do it anyway, but not the end of the world they don't. So, obviously, the 2 main players, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, I think both of them have the potential to be Hall of Famers, but I don't think they have the potential to do that while they're together. A lot of people think the same way. I hope that Doc Rivers can figure out a way to get these 2 guys to play well with each other, because I love watching both of them play. But honestly, that over the last couple of years, ever since really, and it's not, I just had a picture of Elton Brown because he's the face of it all. Obviously, it's not just his fault. It's the whole backroom staff that are involved with trades. They've made a lot of not smart decisions. First of all, the trade for Tobias Harris. I get it, they were in win now mode and they just traded for Jimmy Butler and they're trying to get Tobias Harris. But in hindsight, being able to keep someone like a Landry Shamet, as well as because Tobias Harris was going into last year of his career, last year of his contract would have been a smarter decision, because they have to go and pay Tobias Harris, whereas they'd have a rookie contract, Landry Shamet, on their team right now. But I just don't get this one. The Al Horford deal, I just don't get it. He plays the same position as Embiid. I don't care what he wants to say. He's not a power forward and hasn't played as a power forward since, I can't even remember how long, at least 5 years since he played a power forward. As well as that, the only real reason it seems they took him probably was so that they wouldn't have to play against them against the Boston Celtics, because Al Horford had normally kind of clamped up either Embiid or Simmons. But it was just such a weird thing, especially with how much they're paying him. But anyway, now we're going to be talking about some of the trade rumors and just seeing how it fits in with the team. And a team that has, over the last few years, made some horrendous trade. Basically, since Hinkie's gone, they haven't done really anything smart apart from the Jimmy Butler trade. I will say the Butler trade was smart, but apart from the Butler trade, done very, very little since Hinkie's gone. First of all, this was one I was kind of hoping for. Wouldn't know what they would give up for Buddy Hield, but man, it seems to be dead. But if the Sixers could have got Buddy Hield, it has been a couple of days. That would have been nice. But Buddy Hield wants to leave, which is a big thing. Buddy Hield wants to leave Sacramento, and I don't think that's a bad thing for Sacramento, because it means they can play Bogdanovic a little bit more. But yeah, I wish that for the sake of the Sixers that this wasn't dead, but apparently it is. So this is a really interesting one. This is something that the Sixers will do. I'm pretty confident that they would do. Find another piece that doesn't fit and put them beside 2 pieces that don't fit together. They could do, this is a trade that I expect them to make. Look for a big name that does not fit with the team and make it. So this trade right here, if they could get it, they make it. Zaire Smith has not been as good as I thought he was going to be, man. I thought Zaire Smith, again, that was such a dumb trade they made in the 2018 draft. They had Mikal Bridges, and they traded for Zaire Smith. Mike Scott's a decent... They've lost one of their shooters for Derrick Rose. So, his contract is easily movable in a trade. Getting Derrick Rose for giving that up. Let's see what it says for why the Philadelphia 76ers should do it. They need to perform better under pressure, and Rose is a relatively cheap option. I agree, but they also need to shoot better. Rose is a really solid player, but he does not fit. He's versatile enough to pair with Embiid and Simmons in starting lineup. I mean, this is like a thing where it's like, yeah, Rose can start or you can come off the bench, but it doesn't, like, this entire trade does not take into account the fact that Derrick Rose can't really shoot the ball, and he just doesn't, not even that he can't shoot with the ball, is he doesn't fit teams that don't shoot the ball really well. Like, even in Chicago, I know they had Carlos Boozer and Joakim Noah, but they also had Kyle Korver. They had, I think they keep Bogans for a year. They had Rip Hamilton for a little bit. They had Luol Deng who could shoot it a bit. So he had some shooters around him, and it was a different game. It was a different game back in the early 2010s. And let me have a look here. So with top agencies, Sixers as top candidate for a major move, maybe involving Ben Simmons. And I think I think they're going to make a trade. They have to. After getting swept last year, they have to make a trade. I just wonder whether they do the smart thing and make a couple of small moves. Maybe try get out of one of their two big contracts in Horford or Harris. If they can make a few small moves, I think it would be very, very effective. You expect the Bucks. So that's it. Yeah, trading Tobias Harris's deal would be great and unlikely. Again, if you could trade either one of these deals, it would be unbelievable. As well as that, Alan Brandt said he's not looking to trade Ben or Joel Embiid. So, I don't know what, like, it's a bit of a weird one where it's like, it seems that everyone except the Sixers is talking about the Sixers trading one of their big two. And they just have two unbelievably difficult contracts to trade off from. Like, they might be screwed. They might be actually screwed. Like, they need to make a trade, but I don't think they have any assets to make a trade. And this might be one of the worst. I don't understand how you can get two players that are as young as Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and mess it up this badly. But this is an interesting trade. This is an interesting one. So, it's one that I was reading, and I was like, you know what? They're not going to make it. Neither team's going to make this trade. No team's going to make this trade, but it makes sense. 24-year-old Simmons is one of the best young players in the game. Again, he's starting to get very close to the not young player anymore. Like, 25 is when you stop saying best young player. Like, Giannis is 25. But a 3-team trade that gets Miles Turner to Philadelphia. Is it Miles Turner to Philadelphia? For the Celtics, around Simmons and Turner coming to Boston. And who goes to Sixers? Okay, so Sixers get Walker and Oladipo to pair with Embiid. And Sixers also get Daniel Tice and a second-round pick from Indiana. And Jeremy Lamb and Doug McDermott go to Boston. Who goes to Indiana? Gordon Hayward, Shake Milton, Mattias Thybulle, and Romeo Langford, and Al Horford and 2 first-round picks. Okay, so basically, they're giving up Al Horford. They're swapping Al Horford for Miles Turner, not for Miles Turner, for, say, an Oladipo and a Kemba Walker for a Simmons. Getting Daniel Tice as a backup center would be nice. And I don't know. I think it fits. It definitely fits. A team of Kemba Walker, Victor Oladipo, Tobias Harris, somebody, and Joel Embiid. A shooter and Joel Embiid. That team fits. That team fits a lot better than Horford, Embiid, Harris. But at the same time, like, you're losing, in this trade, you're losing Shake Milton as well. So it's and Thybulle. So it's a really, really, it's one of those weird trades. Like, you're losing Al Horford, Thybulle, Shake Milton, and Ben Simmons. And you're getting a team that fits better, but isn't quite as good. Doesn't have as much talent. So it's an interesting one. Honestly, I don't think there is a trade that Philadelphia 76ers can make without sacrificing either talent or fit. I don't think there's a way for them to basically trade like for like and get better fit. So, for example, trading Al Horford for a sniper. I don't think that happens. Or for a sniper that's as talented as Al Horford. I don't think it happens. So I think either they're going to have to take a knock to talent, as in get lowballed on somebody just to make their team fit together. Whether it's lowballed on Simmons or an Embiid, I doubt they trade either of them. If they can get anything for Tobias Harris, they'll do it. But I think it's a case of them either completely ruining the fit of their team while getting kind of similar talent back, or keeping the non-fitting team together that's there right now. Or they can almost go and blow it all up, but keep some of their core pieces and get players that fit better that might give them a better chance. So what do I think is going to happen? I don't think the Philadelphia 76ers make a trade. I don't think they can trade Al Horford or Tobias Harris, and I don't think they will trade Embiid or Simmons. Trade deadline, maybe, not to start the year. Anyway, yeah, but that is pretty much it. That's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.